Hello. Hey, hi. Good morning, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, good morning.
Just give me 1 second. I'm just starting. So here also let's start. I'll just share my screen. So, right. So like in the last session, I think we were talking about the direct query, right? So we have seen how we can upload publish the files, how we can share it, and then how we can connect the Power BI with a SQL Server, right? Those were the things that we had seen. I hope you all got a chance to try those things out, the server, the Power BI service and all. Any question? I think Deepa, you were asking some question that day. I just can't remember while we were closing the session.
Oh, even I can't remember that exactly. Yeah, okay. Just to get some clarity, right? This
Uh,
import query is like an extract, and this direct query is it like live connection?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay. If I'm not getting any file from the server, I'm just getting from the teammate. I need to replace that file if I'm working on the extract, right?
Sorry, can I go again?
No, the thing is like I have a file on my local desktop. I did all those development in PBI desktop. I have published. It is an extract connection. If it is a
Hmm.
live connection, can you please throw some light on this? I'm not getting.
See, live connection is like basically, so there are two things. There are two type of connections that we have talked.
Yeah.
So when you are working with Excel, so it will always be an import that is going to happen.
Okay. Okay.
But when you work with the databases, so in this you get the flexibility. You can either go with the import or you can go ahead with the
Yeah.
direct query.
Yes.
Okay, so if you're using an import means data comes or data gets saved into the Power BI interface.
Okay.
Correct?
Yeah.
And when I say direct query means data comes directly from source
Source to destination. Okay.
to the report. Destination of the report, the same.
Okay.
Okay, so what happens is, like, for example, let's see that thing out. So what I'm going to do right now is I'll make a direct query connection, right? I think on that day I was showing you that
Yes.
how you
Yes.
can
Yes. Yeah.
reduce the number of queries and all, right? That is something that we
Yeah.
talked. So what I do right now is, suppose I make a SQL Server connection and I write, this is the server that I have, and I make a direct query. Right, so this was the database, and I'll pick up the table from here. And loaded it. So, when you work with the servers for setting up the schedule refresh, also, what you need is you have to use another gateway, that is standard mode gateway, right? On that previous session, we had all installed personal gateway, that how we can
Yeah.
set up a connection so that automatic refresh of the data could happen. But when the data is on the server, you have to install standard gateway in that.
Yeah, Amit, Divya here. Actually, we did that, but I'm getting some connection issue. In
Can
the
you share the
status, it
screen?
show, yeah.
Sure.
It's showing as not configured correctly, but in the action,
So
it's
this
showing
is one
as
second.
you're good to go. The connection is there, but I don't know why it shows
Can you,
that.
so can you just click on this data source one? Click on gateway
This
connection.
one? Yeah.
See, so what you do is scroll it right. You have to take your screen a little on the right side. Right, there is an action, there is an arrow that you see.
Yeah.
Click on that arrow on the right side. On the right side, settings, gear icon, and on that right, yes.
Here.
Click on this.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Right, so now you say this is a SQL server that you are using. So it's
Yeah.
giving all that information, database, includes may click on add to gateway. You just have to map it. That's the only thing. So now you add it over here, scroll it down. Okay. In the authentication method,
Yeah.
make it Windows.
Windows. Okay.
Okay. Now what you will have to do is over here you will have to put the username of your laptop and the password of your Windows password that you put. Right. So
Username, password. Once
like
again, laptop password, username.
laptop password. So laptop name backslash your username. So your username. So whatever your laptop name and username is, you have to put that.
Okay. I don't know my laptop.
And then you have to put the password. The password that you put to unlock your laptop.
Laptop. Okay.
So before that, you will have to write that also, laptop name. That is coming at the top only. Desktop A6L. Just copy that.
Oh, this one, right? This one.
Before, no, not complete. Before backslash. That's the laptop. Yes.
Oh, this one. Okay.
Just copy this, and then put a backward slash, backslash. No other one. And now your username and password on this. Click
Then
on add. Okay, now it's done. So you close this. Now go on the gateway connection again,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Below over
Okay.
here. So now click on maps to maps on the drop down below.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maps to new
Add
data
to.
source. No, new data. This is the connection that you have made now.
Oh,
Because when
okay.
you were making that connection, it was the name of that connection. Click on apply.
Okay.
Now it's ready. You can now click on schedule refresh.
Schedule refresh. Okay. Yeah.
So you scroll down, you will find that time and all coming up over here now. So I think this is you have made with the direct query, right? Direct query refresh.
Yeah. Done.
So now you can make it 15 minutes also. The data will refresh every 15 minutes if you want. So if you make it, apply it, so your data will refresh every 15 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. Okay. Shall I stop sharing?
Yeah. Okay, this what happened? Why is it uploaded? Okay. See, now these are direct query that I have made. So this is the same thing, right? Like what you have done. I'm just going to show that thing now in the practical scenario right now. So if I
Yeah.
make a normal chart, yep. So if I make a normal chart right now over here, suppose I make a normal table. In this table, what I'm doing right now is suppose I am showing the sales by category. So I have the category, I have the subcategory, and then I have the sales numbers, and I have the sales over here, right? So see what is happening right now is this data is not in the Power BI. Power BI is writing queries and fetching the data directly from the data source. Okay, data is not sitting in the Power BI house right now. It's coming directly from the SQL server. Suppose I make any other chart also. I just make two charts just for the representation. Suppose I make a funnel chart. Okay, now funnel chart is an interesting chart which you can always use. Suppose you want to show subcategory that comes in the group, and then you can come to the sales. Then you can put over here in the values. So your chart is created. Now what I will do over here is let me just put up a title on this. Okay, just put up on this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to home tab and publish. Oh, this is saved. I will just publish it now. Right, so I will publish in my workspace and select. So let me open it. See now, when I open this file, you will all notice that nothing will be visible over here. You won't be able to see any any data over here, right? So you won't see any data coming up on this. Okay, understand the mechanism. See, this was SQL where the data is stored. This was Power BI desktop. Right? This was the desktop, right? So I made a connection between the Power BI desktop. Oh, why is it coming? Is there some connection that we have made? Oh, I think on that day did we publish the data on that day? Connection is already there.
Yes.
Okay. I think on that previous server when I was showing you how you update the data. So at that time, that same server details and everything was saved over there on that server. So that is why it was able to identify that connection right away. So because that server is already, that connection is already saved over there. So either what I'll have to do is I'll go on the manage gateways.
No problem, Amit. No need to change all those things. I just asked
Okay.
the compensation.
So
Yeah.
those are the things I'll show the connection of stuff over here so that you understand it. This connection name is, I'll just show you. This is gateways. So new data source. New data source. See, what happened was that there was already a connection that was saved on that SQL server, that SQL, the My Power BI service. With that SQL Express, there is a database into its May, and it can interact. I had already given the permission to my system, because when you will make this connection for the first time, okay, when you will make this connection for the first time, what is going to happen in that case is that directly this window will open up, and this window will only come if you have installed this, right? You need to install this data gateway of this standard mode. See, there are two gateways that you get. One is personal mode and one is standard mode. So when your data is coming from the servers, you need to install this gateway. And when the data is coming from local Excel files and all, so you need to install personal mode. Okay. So the installation of this standard mode is also as simple as the same way you had installed this. When you will install it, it will just ask for your ID password. What is your of the Microsoft the service ID and password, and it will be installed. When you will come on the Power BI service, right? When you will come on the Power BI service over here, so what will happen is right away on your data source, when you will click, right away, if you will click on your data source over here, what this will do is on the schedule refresh, it will start giving you this option. In my case, the connection is already created. In your case, it will say that the connection still needs to be made. Okay, because if I say add to gateway, so this window will open up where you will put all those information. See, the half of the information it will automatically pick it. This information, server name, database name, it will pick up automatically. What you will have to do is you will just have to put the authentication method. The authentication method is Windows, and then you will have to put your laptop name and your username, and then you will have to put that laptop password with which you log in. So that we are authorizing now Power BI service. We have given him all the details that this is the laptop name and this is the password. So it will be able to access it with the help of these inputs that we have given, and it will refresh the data. Got it?
Yeah, getting it. If the project differs, right, we need to set up this once again, right? This gateway.
Yes, yes. In that case, what will happen is your server address will change, right? Because
Yeah.
right now we were using the server as local. If you will be working on a live project, you will get a proper server IP address and all. You will be putting that IP address, the server details over here, and you will put the database name, and then again the same technique will go. So over there, generally we don't have Windows authentication. We have this O authentication. This is like a more advanced level of the security that we have, so that the unauthorized people cannot access it. So these are again ID password only, which your admin team will provide it to you.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
no matter whatever the type of connection, since we are doing it from the server, we need to set up this, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
For the server, you have to set it up. And this is one-time activity with one database. Once this is connected, now
Okay.
you will not have to keep on making it again and again.
Okay. Okay. Because you said that the direct query, it affects the performance. So it is best. Okay.
It will impact because see what will happen is now if you are on this chart, okay, because if suppose you are on this report that we all created. So now what is happening is this report that we have over here, this is fetching data directly from the server only now. It is connected to that. So if you make any change over here, right, you select something, you see it's taking a little time to load.
Yeah.
Then it shows the output. It was because it had sent the query again to my local system and fetched the data according to that. If I again make a change over here, it is going to take its own sweet time and then it will refresh it. But in the import, what happens is it's very prompt. Though you click it and it filters because the data is in its own environment at that point. Now, why I said that the load increases? See, now I am also changing the chart. If there are 10 other people also who are looking at the same report at the same time, correct? So all 10 of us, we will be, sending the queries to that database. So load on the database is increasing. Your time of refresh and your time of update of the charts will increase due to that. And if suppose there are 10 other people, suppose I had also opened the SQL server at my end, right? It is open at my end also. So I'm writing some, creating some database, also writing some queries on my database. And at the same time, 10 other people are accessing the report. So just imagine how the load, right? There are 10 to 11 people who are hitting that server at the same time. So that way the load will increase and the performance of the report goes down. Got it?
Yeah. Yeah. Getting it. Thank you.
Okay. Everyone else, Divya, Lakshmi, right? We have Shunay. I just see you for the first time, or is there some other name that is coming up?
Amit, in your organizational perspective, do you work on more Excel files or like this database thing?
It's more of an Excel only. See, what I have seen up till now is more of the Excel files, and 30% I will say they come from the databases. 70% of reports are from Excel.
Okay. How
Excel.
will your approach then? You'll be taking a snapshot in your system and you'll be uploading it in the service, and how come the connection would be? Because if you publish that, the connection would be from the file from your local system, right?
No, but I can keep the file on the server also. So we keep that
Okay.
file on the. So
Okay.
from there that connection is made because my laptop will go down because when I leave the office,
Yeah.
my laptop shuts down. So we keep it on the server only.
Is there any database settings to change in order to make the connection to the server or no?
No, nothing. Nothing will change.
Okay.
So now, today I'm going to tell you another feature which we will be using a lot. That is called as incremental refresh. Okay. So now what is incremental refresh? Incremental refresh is, right, like when we talk about databases in the company, right? The databases in the company, they have huge amount of data that is stored in them. So you will find that, like if you will pick up the database of Amazon, so you will see that, they have in the same database, they have years of data that is stored in that same location. Because, once you create the database, you do not create multiple databases in the company that, okay, one database for this year, another database for previous year, this database for previous to previous year. No, we never keep the databases like that. We make one database and we keep on, storing the data over there only in a proper sequential way. Okay. Now, if you have to make a report, okay. Now, if you have to make a report from that server, so definitely you will not import all the data from there. Correct. You will say, okay, I want to make some report and I want to do some analysis. So I would like to fetch the data of last 2 years. Okay. Because see in that table, right in this SQL server also, this database that we were using, right? So if I'm using this, Okay, this table that we had. Okay, in this table also, if you will remember, we have a data of a couple of years, right? I say order by order date. Actually, I've created multiple reports with this. Due to this also, see, we have the data of 2014 up till 2017, 18. So we have the data up till 2018 in this, from 2017 to 2018, right? This is the data that we are having in this file. Suppose, definitely, I don't want to pull the data of 2014. So I say I want to pull the data of last 5 years, right? So last 5 years means so 2020, 19, 18, 17, 16, right? So I want to fetch the data only up till 16 now. So I can apply such settings that when I will refresh the data, so my server is going to pull the data of only last 5 years. That is one thing. And second thing is, now you all tell me, like if you're talking about, if I'm talking about Amazon, right? On in Amazon, every day some new data will come, right? Every day new data will come in the source. Okay. Now, what do you feel? So when I refresh the data, should I only refresh the latest data that has come up, or should I refresh the previous data also? Yes. Yes, class.
Latest.
Only latest data, right? Because every day when the new orders will be sold, because previous data is not going to change. It is very rare that the data is going to change, the old data. Okay, like because when you do a banking transaction, the moment you do a transaction, it goes and gets saved in the database of the bank. We have never gone to the bank that the transaction that we did was wrong. It's like it happens once in a 20,000, 30,000 times that we say that this transaction that we did was wrong or it was a fraud. That is why this has to be reversed. But otherwise, that transaction goes and gets saved in that database. So it doesn't make sense that when I refresh the data, it should load all that data again and again, right? Every day it doesn't make sense to keep on refreshing the 5 years of data every day, because when we know that the data is not going to change. So what we do in that case is we apply the settings where we say that, where we say that data should refresh, the data must refresh where the date is, where the date is in the last 2 days or last 7 days, whatever you feel. You are now trying to say you only want to change the settings, or you only want to refresh the data where the order date is lying in the last 2 days from the current date. Getting it? So if suppose I have loaded the 5 years of data, right? Now next day, okay, next day when Power BI has to refresh the data, what Power BI will do is it will see which are those dates that are lying in the last 2 days. It is going to refresh the data only for those date periods, nothing apart from that. Okay, you can make it one day also, you can make it few hours also. That totally depends upon you, how frequently you want to refresh your data. So Power BI will check is the order date is in the last 2 days. If it is in the last 2 days, it will refresh it. If that date is older than that, it is not going to refresh it. Getting my point? What I'm trying to explain right now, class?
Yeah, only for the specified date it will do the refresh, other it will make a message.
Correct. Outside that range, it is not going to refresh.
Okay.
So let us see how we do that. So I'll open a new file where I will show you that incremental refresh. So sure, when the in that case, we for returns, we try to maintain a different table, like where all the returns and cancellations are kept, right? So for that, another table is maintained, and with which we maintain a join, so that when we want to fetch the complete sales and all, so we actually see the correct sales that we made, subtracting all those cancellations and returns that happened. Okay. So now I'm going to click on SQL Server. So, for doing that, so in the meantime, I'll just write down the steps. So, when you have to do that incremental refresh, there are a couple of steps. First step is you have to create query parameters. Okay, and the query parameters name are range start and range end. Now these are some keywords, right? These are keywords and they have to be written in the same way, like I have written over here: R in capital and S in capital, R in capital and E in capital. So they have to be written in the same way. Okay, what these parameters will do, they will help Power BI understand for how many years the data has to be uploaded and for how many days the data has to be refreshed when you're applying that incremental refresh. Okay, so I'll show you now. So once the data set is created, or once the data set is loaded, what we do is we go into the transform data over here. In the transform data, what we do is you will have to click on manage parameters. Okay, these are the parameters. This where you have to click on this manage parameters. When you click on manage parameters, you just have to click on new, and now you will start building the parameters. So just follow this, and then you will be able to get it. I'm making it as range start. This is the first parameter, and the type of this will be date time, right? And I'm going to give the date. So you can give any date for now. Suppose I'm giving 1st of Jan 2020, and time I'm giving as 12 a.m. So you can give any date and time. It doesn't matter that what your load or something like that. You can give any date and time. So you can please try it with me. If you all are trying, so you can let me know. If you will be trying later on, so you can also let me know. So I'll manage according to that. Because the database and everything is already set it on your systems. Sure, Lakshmi.
You're entering right here, Amit. You're just setting this as the start date. Okay.
Range start date. So this could be anything, because ultimately we will be, these are some input parameters that Power BI will be using for its own calculation, which we will set right in a moment.
Similarly, we need to do it for range end.
So the same thing we do for the range, and also you can just copy the same date and you can add a new parameter and we will call it as range end, right? And data type will be date time and this will be the value.
Why are we giving the same start date and end date here?
See, this is just a reference value. You can give other dates also. This is just for the reference because we are creating a parameter. So we are just giving any current value over here. Okay. So once these two parameters are created, you will see them over here. First parameter, second parameter. Okay. Now what you do is you come to your orders data set. You have the order date field. On this, we will apply that parameters. We will use those parameters. So on this, click on this filter option and select custom filter. Okay. So now I'm going to say keep rows where order date is after or equal to parameter, that is range start, and is before parameter range end. Are you able to get it? So this I will click on this OK now. Okay. So now you see nothing is going to come up over here. Now I'm going to click on close and apply. So data is coming completely blank, right? Because we have said that we only want to see the data which is between those dates, which we do not have anything in this file right now. So the chart, the data is not going to show anything right. Okay. So now what you do is just right click on your data set and click on incremental refresh. So when you click on incremental refresh, this window will come up, right? You just have to turn it on. Now over here, what you do is you simply say that you want to fetch the data from that orders table in the last 5 years, right? And you want to refresh the rows in the last 2 days. So you get this over here. And just click on apply all. Getting it? So I click on apply all over here. Now what I'll do is I'll make a small table. In this table, what I'm going to do right now is I will fetch the data of order date and I will just put the order date, not the complete hierarchy, and the sales. And let's put it in the descending order. Right? So once I do this, I just need to save this file. Save. So I'll call it as 26th June incremental refresh and save it. Now I will publish it in my workspace only. And let me open this file. No data comes up, right? So what I do over here is I go to my workspace. So just the same steps, the same thing that we did in that previous part, the same thing. So right, this is the file. I'll go to the schedule refresh, gateway connection. So connection I already have. So maps to new data source and apply. Right. Just the mapping has to be done once. And I come back to the my workspace. And I will have to refresh it once. So when you make a incremental refresh, you have to do one refresh manually. So you will be refreshing it so that all the data for the last 5 years gets pulled up. It will just take 2-3 minutes. So in the meantime, what I will do is this data is getting refreshed. Otherwise, not will create a problem. Let that refresh happen. Let me write the queries in the meantime. So I am saying insert into value. So I will just insert the two things. One is order date and sales. Okay. So values that I will be giving over here is I'm going to say order date is 26th of, I'll put yesterday's date 25th 2021 06 25th, and the sales I'm putting 100. Okay. And one I'm putting a little older date, that is 2021 06 20. Okay, this is the another date that I'm putting over here, and the sales that I'm putting is 200. Okay, see what I've done right now is I have just created the table. I just written the SQL query. I'm not going to refresh it. Let me just let that refresh happen over there. It's taking too much time. It doesn't take that much also. So basically, what first time the load is heavy, but later on what happens is the next refreshes that going to happen, which are going to only load the data for the the last 2 days, that will be very good. Sure, sure, sure. In the meantime, if you have something to ask, please let me know. I don't know if my server is getting a little trouble like this. I shared that file, Deepa, for the DAX. One of the file that I shared.
Okay, the thing is like, is it like any most frequently used ones with the calculate function? So I'm just asking in that perspective.
See, like, mostly the functions that we covered in the class, they were the most frequently used, right? Like calculate YTD previous year and, filtered basis. So, likewise, those are the functions that we use more, right? But because generally, like most of the calculations, they happen over there only. So, I will advise try to explore more of the time intelligence ones, right? The time intelligence ones are important, but otherwise, most of them are like they are like straight. Other will be like calculate the filter based only. I think time intelligence ones are the most important. So if you just go through that list also, let me show you. So there's a complete file. Remember that I gave you that.
Yeah, in the classroom, yes, we have.
Uh, so this documentation over here. See, there are a lot of these functions will come. So mostly just explore the time intelligence ones, right? These functions. So right, dates between date adds, right? First date, last date. These functions. And apart from that, you can just explore some of the filter functions. All except calculate earliest. So these functions. Because otherwise, if you will see other functions that you will find over here, like logical functions are like if, switch, and which you already are aware of, right?
Yeah.
So these are like very 5, 6 only. Mathematical functions you will find absolute. You are not going to use these functions anywhere. Sine theta, cos theta, degrees, etc., etc. You are
Okay.
not going to use them. Correct. Similarly, you have relationship functions. So one is related and related table, right? These are like just VLOOKUP functions. You can try these two. These are like VLOOKUP functions that you have. So although VLOOKUP is again not required because since you can create the relationships between the tables, so these related functions hardly anyone uses. On an overall basis, if I say, the functions that we have covered, they actually cover the most basic ones only, right? If you will see stats functions, right? Average A, beta, chi-square, confidence. So these are nowhere you're going to use them.
Okay.
Getting it? Permutation, combination, sine again, sine theta, standard deviation. So these are more like statistical formulas again, which we never use in the reports.
Yeah, because I was searching even in this Microsoft documentation only, I was like, oh my god, these many number of things, and I thought of asking you any only frequently used things.
No, no. So these are like the things, and all. I mean, you can just explore the time and filter functions. That's it.
Okay. Okay.
So finally, it's done. So it took almost 10 minutes to refresh it, right? See, now if I'll open the report and let's refresh the report. See, now it has loaded the data of the last 5 years, right? The data will be loaded of the last 5 years now. If you will go down over here, so whatever data we have loaded it for the last 5 years from my system right now. Okay. Now what I do is, now let's see the impact of incremental refresh. I am going to insert two new records. Okay. And order by, order date, descending. Now these are the two latest dates. What did I give as a property of that? I gave that data that is coming in the last 2 days, that should be refreshed, not outside that, right? So in the last 2 days from today, this date comes in that period, but this doesn't. So now what will happen is, if I'll go on my server again, I'll go to my Power BI service, and if I will refresh the data, if I'll now it will happen quickly, right? It will now not take 10 minutes. So if I now refresh the data over here, it will only bring the data of the yesterday's 25th June, not of the 20th June. See, the refresh has happened now. Let me go back to the report and let me refresh this. What happened? Has the data been inserted? 2021. Second. Why is it not showing? Shit, man. So what a stupid mistake that I've made. Actually, I had to insert the data into its main, and I have inserted in another database. Why is that not database not selecting? Okay, so I'll actually have to insert this data over here in this, and I inserted into a wrong database. But nothing to worry. So we just need to refresh it once, and it will be sorted. Right. So in the meantime, I would just like to say, like, so mostly your things on this, Power BI, these are what we have, right? Creation of the visualizations and publishing, DAX, modeling. So all these stuffs that we have. So what I'll be doing is I'll share some, the project work today. So I have 2 projects that I will be sharing with you, which you will have to work upon. And yep, so we will be, what we can do is we will be starting off with the next as a R, right? The session of R after that. So earlier I was planning to start with the W, but I think we will start with R and then we'll start with the W. Yep. Any suggestions or anything over here?
No, maybe after working on those projects, we'll get some queries.
Oh, that definitely we'll discuss.
Yeah.
So I think you mentioned for the KPMG also, right? We have to sit for that as well. The project that I shared, KPMG.
Okay.
So let's plan that one session on that also. KPI chart, let me show you, Harsha, right? So let me show you that KPI chart. See, KPI chart is very straightforward. Basically, what we do is, suppose I have this file with me and let me get some data into it. Okay. So if I get the data from an Excel, so I'll show you. Right, so there is a KPI. I have just made a small data to show you that. So in the meantime, this has also refreshed. Let's open that report and refresh it. See, if you see now the data has come up 25th of June, 2021, but the data has not come up for 20th June, because in the incremental refresh, it only refreshes the data for the last 2 days. So 25th June was lying in that period, but 20th was not lying, so it has not refreshed the data for that. Okay. So this is technically what this is, right? So now what you do over here is, if I show you the KPI data first. See, in the KPI data, the KPI chart, how we use it, the use of that is, suppose you have year-on-year analysis with you, that in which year what was the actual, what was the target. Okay, so I have the data of like 20 years, starting from 2001 up till 2020. So I'm saying in the 20 years, each year this was my actual sale and this was my target that I used to have. Okay, so KPI chart is nothing. It's more like where what we are trying to do is we are trying to showcase a trend, that how the sales were happening, right? So if you just pick the KPI chart over here, now what I do is it has 3 things. One is axis. So what do I keep on the axis is I'm going to keep year. I keep the year on the axis. Indicator and target. Indicator is actual value and target is the year-on-year target that you had. Okay. So what this chart will do is it will show you how your actual values were going over a period of time. Okay, so I had 20 years of data with me. So it is showing that how my actual values are going. It went down, it went up, it went down, it went up. So this is a trend of that, the line chart of that. Okay, how the actual values are going over last 20 years. This number that you see, this is nothing. This is the comparison of the final year, the last year, that is 20th year, right? So in the 20th year, my actual was 1841 and the target was 1550. That means I overachieved. I was able to achieve my targets. So that is why you will see that this chart is coming in green color. That means it's a good symbol. My goal was 1550, but I have achieved 1841. So I have achieved 18.77% higher than my target. So it shows you the number for that thing. That is what the KPI chart is. Okay, and if you put over here, sometimes it can be opposite also. Like if you are working in a call center, right? So in the call center, what happens is it's more like a complaints. So your target is that you should get 100 complaints, but if you get 80 complaints, that means that's a good thing, correct? So over there, the actual as a less is a good indicator. So you can change those settings. If you come over here, you have the indicator. In this indicator, what you will find is it's color coding, sorry. In the color coding, you have to tell high is good, and if you make it low is good, it will turn red. That means low was good, but I achieved higher. So that is why it became red. That I got more complaints as what my target was. Got it? So you can change that combination as well. If you want to change the colors, you can choose any of your color as well. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
And Deepa, God charts are just like for comparison, right? The God charts that you make, they are more like, uh, it's like an indicator and all. So it's a good chart. I mean, if you want for the representation purpose, you can use them. Like for example, you have a God chart over here. Okay. So in this case, you can show what was the sales. Okay. So this was the sales values, right? And sales. And what we'll have to do is we'll just have to set up some axis minimum as 0, and let's set maximum as okay 20 million. You're not showing the data. So well, generally comes with this only. The moment you drag the sales on this, it shows you this. Like whatever the sale is, it shows that number over here. Minimum and maximum value. So let me make a new measure.
So this God chart is generally used for comparison.
This God chart.
Is it generally used for comparison or showing some value with?
Yeah, so we use it for comparison. And if you want to compare like what was the target and what was the sale, maybe we can use this only, in fact. Like this data that I have, if I put the actual value in this, right? So it's some problem with the chart, I guess, is it creating some relationship? No. Oh, I think we don't have the data in this now. That is why it was not coming, because I had applied that filter on that. So that is why this data is not coming up. Got it. Right. So in the meantime, I'll show you on this only. Let me just change this over here. Actually, remember with that filter, the parameters that we had applied, because on that sequence over there, that file that is open, that is where the data was not coming.
Okay.
Okay. See, this is what I have kept. This is the actual. Suppose I am putting the target over here. Okay, so it tells you that this was the target. 31K was the target and actual was 32K. So you can see it, that what did you achieve and what was the target. And if you want to set some minimum value and the maximum value also, you can put that over here. That minimum value should be this and maximum value should be this. So if you see with the red line, black line tells you the target over here. So it's almost very near. The values are very near to each other. One is 31,328, one is 31,512. So you can compare this chart, actual and target on this God chart, like a fuel meter. Like, okay, how much fuel is left or how much you have overconsumed, like that.
Okay, likewise, we can compare the sales and profit with this chart also.
Technically, we should not do that, right? We try to compare the same metric over a different of time, like what was the target, or maybe the sales of the current month versus the sale of the previous year, previous month.
Okay, likewise. Okay.
We don't put two different metrics because it can become a little confusing for the end user then.
Yeah, because I was doing that and I couldn't get the importance of this chart. So thought of asking. Now I got it. Thank you.
Sure. All right. Okay, then I think this is where I'll take a pause, right? And yep, so next session, we will be starting on the R and I'll be sharing those assignments. So, I'll give you 2, 3 days, in fact, just to cover up all the things, right? Like SQL, Excel, and Power BI. Those are 3 subjects that we have covered up as of now, right? So, next will be R, which will again take around, R will definitely take a long time. It will take at least a month for the complete completion because there are a lot of stuff that we will be doing in that.
Is it
Okay.
tough? Because all these things at least have an idea. R is, I have zero knowledge on that.
And it's also coding also, right? So if the people who have already some coding background, it will still be easier for them. But like if anyone has zero coding background, so it could be like, I mean, it's not exactly like a Java or a C++ coding.
Mhm.
It's simpler than that, but still some background knowledge of the coding will definitely going to help.
Is it somewhat?
Is similar to Python?
Yeah, I was asking.
Yeah.
Because we know only that Python now.
Yeah, Python knowledge only.
Oh, you have tried your hands on Python?
Yeah,
We learned Python, yeah.
Python. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you will find it easy, right? Then you will not find that tough. Many of the terminologies are also similar, right? Like when I will say data frames, I will talk about vectors. You will be able to tell, right? This vector is a list, right? This is a series. This is what. So you will be able to relate to them, and I think it will be easy.
If there is any link, we can get some basic knowledge and we can attend the session. At least I want to know how it look like.
So the first thing that you can do is maybe I'll share. You can download first of all R and R Studio. So that
Okay.
is the first thing that you can do. So you have this cran.r. You will actually have to install 2 things, right? You will come to this link over here.
Yeah, I'll just make a note.
Okay, so I'll put it on the chat. This will install the base R. From here, you will be installing base R. You just have to click over here on this link, click on download R for Mac or Windows, whatever you are using, and install R for the first time. So you will get the link from here, right? Download R. And then you will have to come on rstudio.com, and over here you will have to install RStudio. That is the second thing that you will install. So from here you have to download RStudio desktop. So this is the link for downloading that. So on the second link, just please download these two, and you have to just download the first one, the free version desktop.
Amit, can I say something? Why are we not starting with Tableau? Because, I'm not from IT background at all, as you can know from my questions itself. But I was wondering if I can at least get to the basic things of Tableau, and Power BI is already done, so that at least I can start with something. Because I seriously don't have confidence that I'll be able to do that.
No, trust me, you will be able to do it. Because I have, in the previous batches also, I have seen the people from the non-tech background, and they were able to follow it easily. So the reason I'm not starting Tableau over here is because Tableau is very much similar to Power BI. Okay. So
Okay.
the thing that we've done the Power BI, similar things we'll be doing over here. Over there, definitely the interface will be a little different. So even if I teach you Tableau after 1 month, you will be easily be able to grab to it. Because after R we also have to do Python. So if I'll teach you 2 languages together at the same time, first R and then Python, you will be double confused. That you will be like, right now I just learned R, then how will I now grab the next coding language now? So that is why I'm just giving that break over there. Getting it?
Yeah, I was wondering if Tableau and Power BI is good enough to get a job. Fetch a job. I have knowledge of SQL now. I learned it, whatever you told me. So I was wondering, that is beyond my level. I feel R and Python. It's like I don't have confidence I'll be able to learn that. So I just wanted to get over there so that I'd learn these two, Power BI and Tableau. So that
even
at least
I don't have knowledge of R, zero knowledge on coding.
At least you guys are from IT background. I can listen to your questions and I can very well understand. But I don't have any idea. I just try to look at various videos and learn
Even I
all
don't,
that. So
even I don't have any language, any
analysis I
background.
can do. I can very well understand the data, but I'm not sure about coding language because that I've not done even in my 12th class. So that is the thing. So I was just wondering if we can do Tableau before that. So, I mean, so that I can drop Python and R in future. I mean, if I don't grab
okay,
it.
you want to,
Yeah.
okay, you will get a closure and then you can plan on other.
Yeah. Mhm.
Let me think on this. Let me talk on this, like what. So, sure, let me just talk to Pawan also on this. Let me get back on you on this. Hope that would be fine.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Amit, hereafter there is no reliance on Windows, right? I can use my Mac, right? Because it's
Ah, you can use it on the Mac.
my
This will
system
work.
is very, very slow because it can't tolerate any other burden, my Windows.
Okay,
Yeah,
no,
for Python, which ID we are using?
Yeah, yeah.
Jupyter notebooks.
Oh man, I need to uninstall then everything.
Okay, even if we
Yeah.
do- okay.
And install. You will just install Anaconda for that, and from there you will get that.
Yeah, we'll get to know while we start you start that, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, then thank you so much for the session.
Okay, thank you.
Happy
Bye.
weekend, guys. Bye.
Yeah, bye,
Bye.
everyone. Bye. Thank you.